afternoon, good evening to everyone out there. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Tonight, I'm fully aware that I put a headline which for a lot of you, I could see by email reactions up front, was a very surprising statement, which I understand. I came across this thought some while back. I want to die healthy. And a lot of people ask me up front, what the heck are you talking about? I want to die healthy. And my question is, you also, ? Now, what I mean by that, you will discover over the next 30, 60 minutes while we do this show here, which is typically a bit shorter than most of the other shows I've done before. I just giving it a few hours ago in German, and I get a feel for the length of the show, which I never know when I write the shows, because I never know how fast it goes down. I want to die healthy. Interesting. My new landing web page is improveyourlife.us, which is pretty easy to remember. Improveyourlife.us. And from there you can get to any parts of my other websites. And to make sure that we are on the same page, I should quickly blend in this disclaimer that I'm not a doctor. My statements are not evaluated by the FDA, and so on, and so on, and so on. This is a legal must to protect myself, as everything I'm saying on this show is my personal opinion only. Not officially. I'm not a doctor. I can't give medical advice. So, health. I want to die healthy. Let's start off basically with health. Health, to my definition, everything I'm saying today is my personal opinion, unless I quote somebody. Health has little to do with white coats and pills. Changes and modifications of what we're doing so far is not enough. We have to completely rethink what is needed. Nobody is satisfied with the banking system, the governmental debts we have, the education, the retirement plans, the unemployment, the quality of food and water, the pollution, chemtrails, energy, healthcare, freedom of speech, political parties. Nobody's really happy with anything of this. All these systems are worn out and abused systems over dozens of years. Now, if we try to fix those, we're doing patchwork. If you take broken bits and pieces and try to put them together in a new concept, you're still building your new concept on broken bits and pieces. That makes no sense to me. And fumbling around and starting points with somebody which is ridiculous, it's too much patchwork. And nothing useful comes out of it. The future in medicine is, to my definition, whether it's self-healing, the technologies, the energy, food, water, the main dangerous application on this planet, frequencies will play the most important role, not pills and not white coats, and not chemicals. Why not chemicals? Very simple, because life can only come from life. You can eat grass and perhaps survive, but no plastic. Life can only come from life. People aren't always stupid, or just simply stupid. They are usually not told the truth, or the truth is withheld. And above all, the people themselves do not seek truth. They think truth is coming by itself, typically while sitting on the couch. The truth will come through the TV set. It will not. Basically, what is told in the media is usually not the truth, and to the most part. You have to be able to completely forget everything what you believed in until now and start all over again. That's the way life is. We're heading in the wrong direction, no matter where, especially in the medical field. It's not easy to ask you to forget everything you think you know, because you like to hang on to, oh, that's like this, or similar to this. To completely think new, to forget about what you knew before, is for the most people impossible. Let's face it, the earth is depleted. The air is bad. The oceans are big dumps. And we have too many bad things going on this planet. It's all against mankind, but again, against flora and fauna as well. Most of our activities are counter-survival. We point out certain animals and plants and say, they're dying, they're vanishing from this planet. And tears, 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 tears. While if you have a bit of realistic point of view, you would look in the mirror and say, I, the human, I'm the most endangered species on this planet. We are. We just don't see it. That we don't see it doesn't mean it's not true. We keep dancing beyond the grave. And what is what we do to this planet? I would dare to say we deserve to vanish from this planet according to how we treat it. And that is going on. We're completely stupid. We think everything we can do and we can finance, we should do. Of course not. The parameter of doing things, inventing things, means these have to make sense and be pro-survival and not against life on this planet. We should stay away from things which are completely insane, which have negative effects on nature on the planet. But we do them anyway. Because some people make money with it. It's simply always about money and control. It comes down to greed. And greed is the downfall of our society. Because when greed comes in, the ethics go out the door. When the cell phones were introduced, no cell phone company had ever to prove that cell phones are dangerous, harmful. Nobody had to prove that. And the entire world nodded and said, okay, fine, we're happy. Good. This world is going down drastically. We would have to replenish millions of trees as we speak now. And we're already running late to create a better soil, to create a better climate, better water, more water. We need trillions of trees to be planted now. We ignore it. People just ignore it or they don't know it. You know, they just don't look at it. But sorry, that's the way it is. We're cutting off the branch on the tree we're sitting on. If you look at the water situation in America, it's pretty much standard that the drinking water supplied from the city has fluoride, arsenic, chloramine, chlorine, blah, 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 everything in the water. And we drink it because it looks clean. It looks clean and we say, oh, great, good water. Please watch my shows in the archive, all about water 1 and 2, where I explain to you how stupid we are. We are committing suicides in bits and pieces, step by step. Are we just all too blind to see, ? We're doing things in our society which we shouldn't be doing. Not everything what we technically can do and can finance we should do. Most inventions of the last 200 years that makes our life fluffy, sexy, rock and roll, entertaining, are bad for the planet, mankind, flora, fauna. Many are simply insane. By chance, I will offer a webinar explaining to you these most important inventions over the last 200 years and the bad consequences. Basically, it's all screwed up, but we're enjoying it being screwed up because it makes our life so entertaining. Those of you who have participated in my webinars and talk shows and webinar and seminars, they have seen my standard statement. It is my favorite standard statement, and will be, because we are so stupid. Mankind is extinct because they believe the laws of nature were not valid for them. How can we think that we can do whatever we want to this planet and get away with it? We will not. You may not see it yet. If you really watch, you will see it. You will see the signs, the writing on the walls, but we ignore them. We simply ignore them. The future of our survival in medicine, the improvement on all conditions on this planet, is determined by how we handle frequencies. I will do a separate webinar only about frequencies. Here's the brief one. There are billions of trillions of frequencies on this planet, but we can separate them in two categories. Our planet is based on two kinds of frequencies only. Pro-survival, positive, and counter-survival, negative. The future on this planet and all beings are based on what Nikola Tesla says: if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. He's not saying about some nice chit-chatting, or let's talk about a nice tiramisu dessert. He says the secrets of the universe. What is a secret? A secret is a question which has never been answered. That's all there is. If the answer is found to that question, then it's no more secret. And he gave us what he discovered the secret. That the universe is based on energy, frequency, and vibration. That's all there is, so to speak, all there is. So the future of our planet and our beings depends on how we understand frequency and apply them for our survival. However, we are a society, I invented this expression, of intellectual couch potatoes. We're no couch potatoes, but we're intellectual couch potatoes. We don't want to be bothered, we don't want to move, we don't want to learn. We just keep in our same circle all the time. And Albert Einstein said, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep pedaling. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep pedaling. Means you must keep working, thinking, improving. All right. We all want to be healthy, there's no question. We all want to live a long, eventful, successful, productive life, no matter where we live in this society, no matter where we live on this planet, no matter our race, our faith, our political opinion. Unfortunately, one has to realize that most people are sick and most people lack energy. And even this is the case more and more with young children, not only with adults. And this is not only the case with ordinary citizens, but also doctors in the medical field and specialists in the healthcare system. You think they're healthy? Not at all. They're like everyone else, struggling. So the theme of today is I want to die healthy. You also. Let me remind you, I'm getting into this. Don't worry. That's a statement of mine I came up with, an interesting thought. I thought it's very interesting. I surprised myself when I really stepped back and I looked at it from the bird's eye view. I gotta get a patent on that sentence. Certainly a new thought for most of you out there. I would like to pass away at an old age, as it was customs in the past. I do not want to die in a nursing home after spending years on end with a chronic illness. Just hanging in there, passive, nothing to do, nothing to say. I don't want to die sick. I want to die healthy. I'm not looking for an assisted living. Do you? You think that's a nice target? To become 95 and spend the last 10 years with Alzheimer's, degenerated in a hospital? I think that's not funny. When I talk about life, life means to me not I'm breathing, I'm alive. But life for me, there's a quality in this word. To be chained to a ventilator is for me not life. I'm living physically, but life has some quality to it. I want somebody to change my diapers and feed me, sitting there for years on end, wait till I die in pain and anger and frustration. That's for me not dying in dignity. It's for me a terrible thought. And all of you who have not been in a assisted home, assisted living, my wife is a nurse, and she and other people who work in these positions can tell you a lot. And the best thing is for you to invite yourself, and I really mean it, to spend a day in such a place and watch the people, how they spend their day. And then you ask yourself the question, is that the way I want to live? And eventually I want to die. Somebody changes my diapers and feeds me all day long? And I sit in front of the TV perhaps and wait till the evening comes? And to go to sleep, perhaps, if I can sleep? To be unable to watch my children and grandchildren on a one-to-one, see them how they grow, how they're doing, with a respectful distance, let them live. But I want to participate in their lives and to be able to support them. And I got a lot to support them. That's for me life. Yes, it's nice to have a good relationship with the younger generations, but still being able to be as much as possible self-sufficient and do your thing and watch the world. You may be not working 8-10 hours a day like I do now, but maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour. Do something. In the old times, it was very traditional that different generations of people live under one roof. And the oldest generation, no matter how old they were, they had jobs to do to contribute to the family life. Waste my time in a nursing home, the idea makes me crazy. How much quality of life is that? I want to die healthy, without suffering, without getting on the nerves of others, but I'd like to die with honor and dignity. How is that possible? Well, it's possible only, to my thinking, if yesterday, today and tomorrow, you live truly healthy. If you're 40 or 50 or 60 and you already are on a down spiral, you're already suffering, you're already having major health issue, what do you expect? The health issues go away by themselves? Things become better by themselves? It's your choice. Believe it, you have a choice. But that means as well what we call the so-called lifestyle, what I call very often the death style. What we call lifestyle, you're currently living, maybe needs improvement, maybe needs a change of mindset. I'll give you a quick story which a friend of mine told me. She met with her siblings in the house, in the summer house of her father and mother For a few weeks they spent together family time, and they were all adult children. And one evening, after dinner, as far as I remember the story, how it goes, the father invited the kids at the fireside and they sat around, and the father said, so to speak, the bottom line message was, the father said, I want to say goodbye to you. I want to say farewell. I lived a great life, and you were a part of my great life. But now my time has come. The kids were very surprised, a bit shocked, of course, completely unprepared. They went to bed the next morning. The father had died overnight. What a way to leave that world and to perhaps be eventually born again, as I believe. As I know, not believe. I think my father had a similar situation. My father was a very simple man, and he liked to walk around and go a bit in the garden and, whatever. He was above 90. And then he had a problem with the leg, and he couldn't really move anymore. And I believe at that moment, there was nothing else apparent. At that moment, my father decided to leave, because for him was life not worth living anymore. The three boys were all grown up, were living around the planet, doing their things, good, friendly relationship, nothing wrong. But I think he said, that's it. And he left. I was not very much surprised. So the question is, how do you want to leave this planet for at least a certain amount of time? To my personal knowledge, we are born again. I was born again many times. I've seen many of my previous lives. And to the biggest extent, we are born again. Not that we always remember the other lives. Many people can't remember them. But we have lived them. So, to my opinion, that's what I'm talking about when I say I want to die healthy. When I was a child, a young man, I didn't know anybody who has osteoporosis, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson. I didn't know anyone who died of cancer. People died as a result of accidents. Or most older people left and right around me died at home, sitting on the sofa, sleeping in their bed peacefully, not after being in hospital for months and weeks and whatever time, on assisted livings. Most of them went to bed and never woke up again. Osteoporosis? What a strange thing. Here's an image what osteoporosis looks like. And I talked about this in my shows about water, about pH acidity. Most of these severe illnesses, what we now call severe illnesses, cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and so on, were developed over the last 60, 70 years, not 200, 300 years ago. Every third person is dying of cancer. We have spoiled the condition on this planet so badly, we screwed up this planet. And as a consequence, we are paying now the prices. The main reason, to my humble opinion, why people die of cancer, reason number one, mental instability, keyword psychomatics. In many cases, a loss within the family, like your spouse takes off with somebody else and leaves you alone. You lose a child dies, very traumatic. These reasons can cause cancer. There was, by the way, this German Dr. Heuser, who researched the topic for many years, medically, scientifically. He researched this topic, that cancer can cause mental problems, can cause cancer. He had so much success that they pulled his license and put him into jail several times. At that period when that all happened, I was in contact with him. He was not an easy man to go along. But he discovered this. In his opinion, it was the only reason for cancer. And I couldn't agree with this, not especially today, looking back the last 40, 50 years. There is a natural reason for cancer, which is based on geopathic zones. And I will talk about geopathic zones in another special seminar to explain to you what geopathic zones are, which no doctor knows about it, of course not. And they don't treat it and don't work with it. So this Dr. Heuser was very known in Germany and in Europe. There's much to be said about him, but today we don't have the time to do that. On my website under books, I don't sell books, but there are 1-2 books of him, about his work. They're available, very little in English, much in German. I encourage you to get the English ones on my website. They're mentioned, and read them for better understanding. So the first reason for cancer is a mental issue. To what percentage? I don't know. I don't dare to say. But it's an issue, and in some cases it may be the only issue. In some cases it may be a dominant issue. Then there is the second reason. For me, this is electromagnetic radiation, cell phones, Wi-Fi, GPS, and what have you, radar technology. If you go on my archive on my website, you see several workshops. I talked about this in several seminars and webinars. I talked about all the electromagnetic radiation and the consequences. I don't want to go there now. I'm just saying it's, for me, with no question, reason number 2. And it may be in many cases the first and utmost reason for cancer. Every person I was asked to help as a management consultant, as a personal consultant, was badly exposed to electromagnetic radiation and bad water. Which brings me to the third reason for cancer, which is bad water. People completely underestimate the importance of water. I keep saying this for years, but okay, very little people listen. And I gave webinars all about water, part 1 and 2, and some talk shows. Please watch them to refresh your memory or information if you haven't read it yet. The reason number 4 is, for me, that we're all too acidic. We're much too acidic. Much too acidic. And again, in my water seminar, webinar 1 and 2, I explain that we are too much acidic and why we are too much acidic. Check it out. Number 5 of the main 5 reasons, there may be some others, but number 5, we have overload of toxins. We are all too toxic, all of us, too toxic. These are, for me, the 5 main reasons, either one or combination of these, why every 3rd person nowadays has cancer. As our water doesn't become better, and I could add, of course, food, which is more and more destroyed and depleted. I should add food as well as number 6. And they try to find cure for medication for cancer, which for me is a joke. They collected over the last 50 years $3 trillion in donations and government spending to find a solution for cancer. Besides this terrible chemotherapy, they came up with nothing. And to my knowledge, best knowledge, the percentage of people who get healed with chemotherapy is below 2-3%. And I'm saying these 2-3% would have survived as well without, in spite, chemotherapy. They did. So the money they spent on researching a cure for cancer has never, ever gained anything. And there's a simple reason for me. They looked into the complete wrong direction. What I'm just listing here, of which I believe, by personal opinion, are the main reasons. They're trying to find a solution which would end up ideally in a patent. They're trying to make money. That's their motivation. not to help mankind. They're trying to make money. As soon as they have a product which seems to work, they patent it. And people will run for it. Because once they have cancer, they do everything to get out of it. No matter how stupid it is, to my opinion. As we're talking about it, let's talk about doctors. Let me tell you point blank my opinion about doctors when I'm saying that 95% of all doctors are a disgrace, to my opinion. 3% are okay, and 2% are fantastic. And I had the pleasure to meet a lot of these 2 and 3%ers. I learned a lot from them. I listened to them. They asked me questions. I asked them questions. We exchanged ideas and concepts. And I love to find these 2% top of the pyramid doctors. Great, great guys. I'm very humble when I meet them to listen to them and find out what they know. But so what's up with these doctors? Well, it's very simple. In university, they never were educated in electromagnetic radiation, in water, to name the 2 major issues. Nobody taught them. Nobody. They have no idea. And they can't think holistic. You may have an eye doctor who does fantastic jobs with the eyes, but in Chinese medicine, if you have an eye problem, you usually have a problem with the liver. And the Chinese doctor will treat the liver, not the eye, if you're not poked your eye. But they don't think holistic. And if you don't think and act holistic, you will never really get great results. When doctors find their ways into my seminars in the past, many of them were deeply shocked when I introduced my concept of electromagnetic radiation, of water and others. They were deeply shocked. And they kept all asking the same question. Why did nobody taught us on university these information? I said, well, don't ask me. And they admit that they were trained to prescribe. They were only trained to prescribe medication, which is to the most part chemicals, toxic chemicals. And I never refuse that at certain situations, these toxic medications in emergency can do fantastic jobs. I've seen it happening. But as a standard of living and taking medications for months and years on end, sorry, not with me, not on my watch. So, have you ever seen a doctor who asks you, how is your marriage? How are your kids? Do you use a cell phone? What water do you drink? A doctor never checked whether you have chronically low body temperature. He freaks out if you have fever, which is positive, because the body is addressing something. He doesn't understand low body temperature. It's very, very bad if you have chronically low body temperature, but they don't care. They do not understand about it. They don't understand geopathic zones and the effect on the body. Geopathic zones on this planet is a natural source of developing cancer. And basically, every property has a geopathic zone. And I will do a separate webinar on geopathic zones to tell you what the doctors don't tell you, what they don't know. So besides the reason I gave you, one of them was electromagnetic radiation. The reason number 2, you remember, a few minutes ago? Well, in this electromagnetic radiation, there is a natural electromagnetic radiation, not our cell phones, not our Wi-Fi. It is geopathic zones. All right. Now, illness is no coincidence. Neither is health a coincidence. They're both by lifestyle and situations. Health has much more to do with reason and discipline than you may think. And I'm talking about this in a few minutes. It requires a new perspective on an old problem. When people typically say, why is it me who's getting sick? Why is it me who's getting sick? I live oh so healthy. I buy my food in a health food store. So how can I become sick and unhealthy? Now, obviously, you did not live healthy, otherwise you would not become sick. You obviously don't see the problem. And as Albert Einstein says, the purest form of madness is leave everything as it is, hope that something will change. If you become sick, we'll talk about this in a minute, there must be a reason. And if you don't change what you're currently doing, it can go away. And let me give you a new definition of pain. Pain is a warning signal and emergency programs from the body which say, alert, wake up. You have thirst. If you feel thirst, it's a warning signal from the body that you will die if you don't feed water. If you have hunger, that's a warning emergency program from the body. Feed me or I die. If you don't get enough sleep, the body tries to pull in sleep against your will. I had as a young guy this terrible situation that I was driving at nighttime and fell asleep in the car, only for split seconds. After 2-3 times in a row on that trip, I pulled to the side and said, never again. The body was so tired. As an emergency program, it pulled in sleep against my free will. My free will was not as strong as the emergency program from my body. The same counts for fever. Fever is an emergency program to address an issue in your body, to fix a problem. These are all warning signals, and we have forgotten about them. Only if we start to suffer, oh yes, I got to drink, because the body really pushes you. You got to drink, you got to drink. It wouldn't do that if you would have drunk in time enough. The emergency program of the body would have been not needed to kick in. Before there is pain, there is chaos in your body. Warning signs, which we usually ignore. To the most part, we lost the ability to listen to our body and to our soul. Yes, we feel we got to go number 1 or got to go number 2. We feel that, right? Why do we feel that? Because the body is pushing it. The body is pushing it on you. Say, hey, there's something going on. You got to do this, right? Have you ever thought about this? This is an emergency program. And I bet you, as me in my life, every one of you listeners out there, you had situation where for number 1 and number 2, it was too late. And we peed and pooed in our pants. By whatever circumstances, doesn't matter. The body gives you a signal. Do something about it. And we have lost, ignored the ability to listen to our body and to our soul. This world was built on harmony by God given. On harmony. The meaningful coexistence of superior and subordinates. It was meaningful, but it was still in harmony. Up to 200 years ago, before the so-called Industrial Revolution, around 1800, the world was basically, largely based on harmony. With these many inventions at that time and the way how to work, how to produce. Over the last 200 years, there were tremendous changes to make our life comfortably, more sexy, more fluffy, easier, more entertaining, more attractive. But these came all with high prices that we paid and we still today continue paying, and it will no end. In consequence, we ended up with problematic social structures, questionable ways of living together and interacting with each other, more psychological deficiencies, more physical illnesses. And I will be giving this webinar about these great, great inventions of the past 200 years and their consequences. Now, babies are born mostly healthy and live the first years of their life largely healthy. We live in that stage of harmony. But then what happened? The stage of harmony is opposite to the state of chaos. What do I mean by that? All right. This is a concept I came up with some years ago. If you have a car, you bring it to a car mechanic. And basically you are saying, my car was in harmony, it worked beautifully. Now it's chaos, it doesn't work. Please fix it for me. Right? You want the chaos be fixed, back to harmony. If you go with your spouse to a marriage counselor, you're basically saying, dear marriage counselor, we had a beautiful marriage, but it's chaos now. Please help us to fix it. We want harmony again. When a patient goes to a doctor, he goes there with the statement, I need help. Please help me. I'm in chaos. I need harmony again. I don't want the illness. I don't want the sickness. Please help me to go back to harmony. Chaos and harmony. We thrive on harmony. We want to live in harmony. That some people take heavy drugs and think that's harmony, well, it's a dead-end street. You cannot stop some people from walking into this dead-end street. But by nature, people are good. Mankind is good. We all want to live a healthy, happy life, see our children grow, see them prosper. And then came in greed and control and money. And we lost our track. There was this female swimmer. I don't know if you're aware of the Olympic Games. The Olympic Games, to my definition, have nothing to do with sports. Sports is an excuse. It's a silent war between different countries. Every day you see which country has how many medals. That's what it's all about. To show how good our country is, we have medals more than you have. That's a certain way of a war. There's much more behind it. I don't go there now. But there is this female swimmer. With age of 15, they detected that she's a one-of-a-kind talent. For 3 years, they supported her. She got the best doctors, the best physicists to help her body movements, massage therapy, a nutrition specialist, to bring her to a star of performance in her discipline. 3 years later, at the Olympic Games, she wins the gold medal. Besides, she was very pretty. Physically, she was like the best standard you can ever imagine in health. Because she was supported left and right in methods and funds, and money goes into the millions. That's what they do with candidates in Olympic Games. They finance them. They invest money in a potential gold medal. That's what it is. So this girl won the world gold medal. She was 18. At the age of 22, she developed breast cancer. Boom. At the age of 23, dead. Boom. She went from complete harmony into complete chaos. How is that possible? Well, I developed a thought several years ago, almost 10 years ago. Think about it. And here is how it works. So that the state of harmony turns into disharmony, means chaos, following must happen. A, something changed, worsened to the existing situation, which was okay. Something changed, it worsened. Or B, something new, negative, must have been introduced, which wasn't there before, or the combination of the above. Now, let's take a simple example. A. This girl had healthy water to drink, and she changed from healthy water to what I call bad reverse osmosis water. Example. So, something changed. She dropped the healthy water to the existing situation. And then something new happened. She introduced reverse osmosis water. So to go from harmony to chaos, you must add something in the condition of harmony which is destructive. You must leave something aside which you did before and you don't do it anymore. Or you add something which is bad, which you shouldn't have done. And only with these two thoughts, either or, you can come from the stage of chaos, from harmony into chaos. I hope this makes sense. And I have a second phase which I'm saying, disharmony means too much of negative and or not enough positive. When the negative outweighs the positive, then you get into chaos. As long as the negative stays very low, non-existence ideally, or very low, the positive runs the game. And this is what I call chaos and harmony. Illness can only arise where there's disharmony, where there's chaos. And this chaos can be mentally or physically, or the combination of both. So chaos can happen in your mind, and it can happen through physical components, like, let's say, bad water, electromagnetic radiation, whatever. So it can be mentally or physically or both. Now, what is health? I'll give you 10 seconds, please, to come up with your definition in your mind. What is health? You want to be healthy, right? But how do you define healthy, what healthy is? If you cannot define healthy, how do you want to judge you're going for it? You're thriving for it. You're on the way to be healthy, or you are healthy. So think about another 5 seconds in your definition, what is health? Time up. I offer you 3 definitions. These are my 3 definitions I came up with, and you may have 1, 2 other more valid ones, which is completely fine. I don't know everything. If you find things where I'm wrong, or which I should add to my concepts, I'm very happy to listen to you and to add them to what I'm doing. I keep learning. I keep learning. So this is health. So once we define now what is health, so let's go on. What is the basics? What are the basics of health? I'll put together some main points, which I consider they are the most basics of health. If they're not applied, you will never be healthy. These are the main points. There are some others as well, which I teach in various webinars and seminars, but these are the main points. A stable and healthy mental spiritual approach. Without a stable and healthy mental spiritual approach, I don't believe anybody can be long-term healthy. Free from electromagnetic radiation. I talk about this all the time in my webinars and shows. cell phones, Wi-Fi, GPS, cars, electric cars, and so on. Geopathic zones, free from electromagnetic radiation. If you're not free from electromagnetic radiation, you will never be really healthy. Never, ever. Absolute healthy water, one of my main topics. If everyone who ever listens to me would understand, really understand, the importance of healthy water, you would all change your water intake, which you're doing today, unless you have my products. I can clearly say that. There are very, 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 very little products out there which do what I do. And it doesn't matter you use my products or somebody else's products. As long as you watch my shows all about water, part 1 and part 2, then you understand water. And if you don't take the consequences out of that show, sorry, you can't be helped. If you keep drinking your regular city water, or for Christ's sake, buy bottled water, you missed it. And you will go down the hill, no question. Next point, healthy food. Of course, healthy food. Without healthy food, nothing goes. However, be careful. Not everything in a health food store is healthy. And nowadays, with what's going on in this world, how bad the water is, the watering the fields, the air, the pollution, the microplastics, the oceans, to have truly healthy food is very hard. This is why I developed a product which I'll show you to compensate the bad frequencies in food. Then the next point is continuous detox. We are all overloaded with crap, with toxic waste in our bodies, all of us. When I came back from China and I said I will never go there again, in the common sense, I worked there for many years. I had a company in Taiwan, a company office in Hong Kong, and a company in mainland China. Everybody who lives in regular mainland China has toxic waste in his body. Everybody who stays there more for 1, 2, 3 weeks. When I came back from China, which means not staying there many months a year, all the time, when I came back and said, that's it, it took me more than 1 year to detox my body from all the crap I accumulated in China. But besides going to China or not, we have plenty of bad crap here in America and Europe, wherever. So you must continuously detox yourself. And the last major point, the basics of health, these are the real basics, is that you live pH neutral. We are all too acidic. Please watch again all about water part 1 and 2, in where I explain what that means, too acidic. Now I'll give you a quick rundown for those points before we go on with the regular program. It took me years when I realized how bad water is. At first I tried to buy water systems to have good water, and I saw how much these companies were taking us for idiots, or they didn't even know themselves what they were doing. They missed the key points in the water. Anyway, so I developed this product W300 to change the quality of your water overnight in your entire house. That's what it looks like in nature. Please watch my show all about water 1 and 2, where I explain to you what it does. I'm very proud of this product. My people who worked with me on this are enormous. I thank them every day and every night. You don't know what we brought out and what we compensate with this. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But that's what it is. So all about water. And then I have this mobile product. It does the same thing, but only if you travel. It does the same thing like the blue thing. So I found a solution. You do not have to suffer any more of the bad, poor, lousy water you're drinking. Please. Okay? You don't have to. Then I developed something about food to nullify the negative frequencies in food. The food nowadays, Even the health food, organic food, has to a big extent products which are harmful, bad frequencies. And I nullify these bad frequencies with over 200 pages, 300 pages of expertise from the BISA Institute who has tested the product and confirmed and certified it. You don't need to believe me. Then there's lots going on in the world now with human protection needs to be done. And I developed this, what is called SD1. Small as a pendant. You can easily wear around the neck, which I do all the time, and most of my customers. And what it does on the website is explained. There's no time to do this now. It's explained on the website. And then, of course, I developed all these products you may know, which I did to handle electromagnetic radiation on your cell phone or in your house, in the car, and so on. You'll find them on my website with explanations. You can see my talk shows where I introduce and explain those products. Now, this is my contribution, my calling, to improve the condition on this planet. I can tell you that without these products or others from other companies, if they work, you cannot survive healthy. Impossible. You cannot survive if you don't protect yourself from electromagnetic radiation. Full stop. Whether it's my product or somebody else's, if they work, it doesn't matter. You have to protect yourself from electromagnetic radiation. Cell phones, Wi-Fi, GPS, cars, electric cars, whatever there is, transmission towers, you have to protect yourself. If you don't protect yourself actively with products which work, and I can tell you, unfortunately, most products do not work. If you don't protect yourself, you cannot make it healthy. If you don't drink absolutely healthy water, you will never be fully healthy. Never, ever. Impossible. Absolute impossible. Watch my shows all about water 1 and 2. I explain it to you. Whether you use my product or somebody else's product, doesn't matter. But you got to improve the quality of the water, that it has the original pristine quality which the body needs. And forget about bottled water. 99%, 98% are bad waters. Just the way it is. I explain it. If you don't protect your food and beverages from these harmful frequencies in the food, if you don't nullify them, which I do in my technology, if you don't do this, you will never ever become healthy. So if you cover food, beverages, electromagnetic radiation, if you cover all this, mobile phones, your chance of a healthy condition is usually increased. And there was one part, if you remember the first part, your mental condition. You got to do something about your mental, spiritual situation. For healthy survival, it's needed. Okay, good. So far, so good. Now come to the last and major part of this program, which I announced, the 6 management steps to health. The 6 management steps to health. People, I introduced that concept first time about 10 years ago. And people have thought, of course, you're crazy, like always, Norbert. What the hell? Management, really, and health, really, the two together? Are you out of your mind? Yeah, maybe. You judge. So what do I mean by that? Many have a problem to put health and management together, because health is something, doctors and spiritual and... No, it's not. It's management. It sounds like business, right? Well, first of all, the medical industry, the medical world is based on making money, not on helping people. Are you dreaming? No. You must be dreaming. They're not about helping people. They're about making money. Health has much more to do with logic, sanity, and intelligence. According to my countless observations and meetings, conversations with people who are sick or not sick, I discovered and I came up with the 6 steps to management, which needs to be applied to become and stay healthy. It's a method. It's a method. It's a clear bullet list. Okay? You just go it down. You'll see it now. Every step needs attention. Some people have with a certain step more problems than with another step. Everybody's different. That's normal. So let's see what step 1 is. Step 1 is confront the situation. Confront the situation. Now, what does that mean? Confronting means there is an issue and it needs to be handled. And confront means to look at something or somebody in a relaxed, neutral mode, not getting emotionally about it. You realize the true situation. If you go from the bird's eye view and not getting emotional about yourself, you just look at it and say, of my illness, what is it? Don't make it smaller, belittle it. Don't dramatize it. Don't make it too small, and don't dramatize it either. Look at it, what it really is. How bad, how important is it really? Okay? Some people, when they have a nosebleed, they already say, I have cancer. And some people who spit blood out of their lungs say, oh, I just ate something bad. You can dramatize it, or you can belittle it. The best way is to look at it for what it really is, how important. The more realistic you look at it, the better is your chance to handle it. Very simple. And no excuses or justifications. It's in my family. It just happened today. And do not ignore it and do not hope it goes away by itself. It usually never passes by itself. Be just alert. It's time to confront this and to take an action. Confront it for what it really is and take full responsibility for it. Say, it's my problem. I got to do something about it. Nobody else's. Take responsibility for it. That's the first step to go further. The next step, step number 2. Step number 2, I call it the right protocol. Now, if you found there is something which needs to be handled, now you have to find the right protocol, the right way to handle it. And that's not easy. I know it's not easy. Which means you have to search for trustworthy methods and people to help. Find the right health practitioner, which can be a medical doctor, or somebody in so-called alternative medicine. It doesn't matter. Somebody who can really help you. That's difficult to find. Remember, you know more about yourself than any doctor out there. And the typical doctor gives you between 3 and 5 minutes time. You know about yourself a lot if you really listen to yourself and look into your life. Do not underestimate the power of your own consciousness, find your way for solutions. I'll give an example that may be really for you very far-fetched. 40 years ago, I had a major situation. I had a major situation in health. I had a very, very, very high level of food allergy combined with a toxic overload of chemical wood treatments. I had an old farmhouse from the 18th century, and we were stupid enough to treat all the wood parts in that farmhouse to preserve the farmhouse with a chemical wood treatment. Looking back today, of course, completely stupid. I didn't know. We didn't know. Most people didn't know. Everybody did that, right? And I was on the verge to die. I can say clearly, I was on the verge to pass. And what did I do? I opened up the yellow pages and looked for a doctor in the area because I never had a doctor. All right. So I went down the yellow pages, and believe it or not, at a certain name I stopped. I called the doctor, made an appointment, went there. And believe it or not, 40 years ago, this doctor was specialized in food allergy. And I had a high food allergy, which I didn't know at this point. He showed it to me. He proved it to me. And we became pals. I was pretty young, and he was at this stage already an elderly gentleman in the 70s. And even when I moved, left Germany, he was still having his practice, I think, in the 90s. And I went to him for 1 year, every day except Sunday and Christmas, for 1 year, every day, Monday through Saturday. And we tested my body, and we tested food allergies. I learned so much, I can't tell you. And it was that time I came across kinesiology or muscle testing. And him and I had the greatest time of our life together. I'm so thankful I met this man. But how did I meet him? You call it luck? No. I go down the yellow pages, and from 50 whatever doctors, I stop here, pick him, call him. So, believe it or not, you have spiritual strength. And if they didn't break your backbones yet, rebuild them and trust a lot of your instinct. You have to develop again that you are in contact with your consciousness. And I know it's different, and I know it's difficult. After you already visited 10 doctors and they gave you all the runaround and stupid methods and nothing worked, or they even told you, oh, what you're saying, it's just illusion. You don't have that problem. You don't have that pain. You lose your confidence. They take you for idiots. You feel like I'm an idiot. He doesn't listen. Was it ever that a doctor told you, after you tried and you tried and tried and tried, after he told you, sorry, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I never had this in my life, a doctor saying, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. They keep doing stuff. They don't know what they're doing, but they would admit, I don't know what to do. I never heard that. The best they would do is to say to you, I send you to a specialist. That's his way to brush you off. I can't help you. Maybe he can help you, but I'm not going to go there. Or he says, take these pills 2 times a day and come back in 2 weeks. Standard sentence. Why 2 pills? He doesn't know how many pills you need. He may have taken it from the box, what it says on the box, directions, take 2 pills a day. How does the company who produces that knows that you personally need 2 pills a day? They don't know. The only way for me to find out is in kinesiology, does that product he prescribes you works? And how many you need. You can test this kinesiology. And there's a show from me out, how kinesiology works, where I show you these things. So these are the doctors. Now I have a simple theory, which I got a confirmation in Chinese medicine years later. If you start a protocol and within 90 days, 3 months, you don't have clear indicators of improvement or completely handled, but at least a clear indicator is really getting better, it's really getting better. If that doesn't happen within the first 3 months, my humble opinion is you are on the wrong protocol. If it's right and you do things in your life right, there must be an improvement showing up. We live in a world where the medical world concentrates to handle symptoms and not causes. We fight symptoms, not the cause. To fight the cause needs to know, but you need to know much more about the human being, about holistic medicine, and you have to have more patience. We all want to have a quick fix. So typical chemical toxic medication with all its known and unknown side effects. Typically, these medications has a list of side effects. All right, sometimes very scary. That's product one. Now, I met people, plenty of them, who take 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, up to 20 different pills a day. Pills and drops, whatever. Now, if we know the side effects of medication number one, and let's assume they're true, and then we take medication number two, and their published side effects are also true. Nobody knows, if you take product number one and product two, how these interact with each other and make things worse. Nobody ever tested that, and nobody will ever test it. Forget about 3-5 time pieces of products you take together. How badly they influence each other and how badly they screw up the body, nobody knows. Nobody cares, and now nobody looks into this. The only way to find out, to my humble opinion, is if a good kinesiologist, a muscle tester, test each product, whether you need it and how much you need, and test if you take these and these and these together, will it have a negative effect? And besides kinesiology, I met these people from Bieser Institute in Austria. With their technology, they can do it. It's the coolest technology in the world. And this is the company who has tested all my products. All my products were scientifically tested by the Bieser Institute. And they gave me certifications for all my products. I'm going to visit them in a few weeks again. And this is the most breathtaking technology, which before the pandemic hit, I had deeply in mind to try and introduce their technology in America. This is the most coolest thing I've ever seen. They can test if a product is pro-survival or counter-survival for you. And they can test if these 3, 4, 5, 10 products together are pro-survival or counter-survival for you. So this medication, we're looking for finding a simple, quick fix. Now, if you look for a consultation, seriously, look for a consultant who's trying to locate the cause and not just wants to fix the symptoms. Attention, be aware that if you listen to people who say, oh, I had great success with this product here, it didn't end that for me. Well, what did it do? Did it make the symptoms go away or not feel them? They're hidden now. Or did it stop the cause? And even though when it stopped the cause, be still careful about it. Because what may have worked for Tom may not work for you. Because you're two different people, different history, different losses in life, different inner and outer wounds, different food, water, lifestyle. You cannot compare yourself. But please look for something which handles, or somebody which handles the cause and not the symptoms. There's a dirty trick from doctors. They have very often write you down illnesses in the family. To my humble opinion, you can never ever inherit an illness from your forefathers, mother, father, it doesn't matter. What you can take over is that your parents, for example, conditioned you mentally or physically by mistreatments. You're mistreated by your parents or grandparents, whoever, and you have mental, physical deficiencies from these mistreatment. You are conditioned. We call this as well psychomatic. But if your father had cancer, it has nothing to do whether you get cancer or not. Nonsense. Complete nonsense, my opinion. And I say very often in my workshops that unfortunately the parents can be your worst friends you ever have. When I watch parents, what they do to their children, I'm not surprised. In my definition, mankind is good, and every child is born good. If that child, after 30 years, rapes children, sexually molests them, or kills people, it wasn't born like that. It was made to be a killer by the circumstances. That's my personal opinion. And you cannot inherit illness from your parents or somebody else. That's, to my definition, impossible. Now, what we do, we're all hoping for the silver bullet, which makes us healthy, sexy, a suntan, rich, successful. We're looking for this silver bullet, for this golden pill. My deep recommendation to you is, don't wait that Amazon will deliver that pill to your doorstep. Start working. Start working, because nothing good happens without work. Lots of work, dedication, burning midnight oil, blood, sweat, and tears. If people have a choice, take this pill and the headache will go away, which doesn't go away, it's just numbed. But if the doctor says take this pill, the headache will go away. Or they would have to take a 13-minute walk outside in the free green fields. 99% of the people will not take the walk. They take the pill. That's where our society stands. We are couch potatoes, and we expect things to be delivered into our laps. But please, let me not sweat for it. Let me not work for it. Make it easy. Painkillers don't kill pain. They numb them only, that's all. Pain is a warning of the body. Writings on the wall. We lost listening to body, and we should try to recapture our abilities as spiritual mental beings. It's difficult to find the right program. But if you found something which is promising, you got to do it. You got to stick to the protocol. Look, it took you 5-10 years to end up in the mess you have now. Illness, sickness doesn't come overnight. It accumulates, it builds over years. Now you expect after 10 years, messing up your life and your body and your mind, you expect an overnight change? That's too naive. But you got to work on it. And I told you about the 3 months rule. And only if you pull it through, and it's work, only if you pull it through, you have a chance to improve your life. If you have a condition which needs to be addressed, you got to address it. Whatever way you find, you got to address it. It doesn't go away by itself. It doesn't improve by itself. It's hard work, and unfortunately, in many cases, it's money. Which brings us to the next point. Step number 3, finances. No matter what you do, there's always some money involved. $5, $10, $100, $1,000, it doesn't matter. You have to pay the price. So I'm running it wrong here. You have to pay the price. No matter how much the money is. And you have to make the funds available. You have to make the funds available. And there comes up this issue always about health insurance. Well, people say, if my health insurance pays for that treatment, I'll do it. If they don't pay, I don't do the treatment. And frankly, to my life experience, most of what the health insurance pays for is not necessarily the methods which really help you. The methods which really help you, in most cases, to my humble opinion, are most alternative and effective treatments not paid by the health insurance. That's the way it is. But again, and some good doctors out there, they don't work with health insurance. They just don't work with them. They don't accept that system, how they manipulate the health on this planet and the patients. Unfortunately, that's the situation. Good. Now, if you have the right money, you found the method, a guy you trust. First of all, you number one, you addressed it needs to be done. You found a method, a protocol. You have the money for it. Now comes the next step. What is the step number 4? What do you think is step number 4? After all this, you went so far. Step number 4 is time. You have to give it the time it needs. And a lot of people fail here. They developed their crappy situation over 5, 10, 20 years. These things don't come overnight. And we expect it to go away in a few days, in a week. We live in an instant society. We consume instant food. We want an instant detox of our body. We want instant happiness. We want instant health. Everything has to be instant, right now, right quick, right now. And we don't want to spend time. Give it to me now. I mean, if you have a child and say to the child, if you save your pocket money, then at Christmas you can buy yourself, have money for a bicycle. And we're in June, the child will say, what? What? Christmas? I want the bicycle now, not Christmas. We all want it now, and we teach our children, you can have it right now, you don't need to wait. When I was a child, there was a period we had to wait to save money to be able to buy something. Nobody does that anymore, does it? We rather have a divorce from our spouse now rather than to work 1 2 years on our relationship. We have forgotten to invest time for good results. For good results, you need to invest time, whether you do sports, a music instrument, all these things, health, education, it needs time. To develop a skill in a job, a good skill, you need time. And we're used so much to computers, instant results and answers. I'll bet you that the majority of children, teenagers, you give today a map to go from point A to point B, just with a map. No GPS, no computer, no smartphone. Just find your way with a map. Here's a map. I doubt it that 90%, 95% will find a way. We forgot to work, to think logic. That's the way it is. Now, we started the protocol. We have to give it time. And what happens is that too often people don't give it the time it needs. And I developed something humble here, which I call it the curve of healing. And I try to bring it across as good as I can. You see on the left side, the horizontal bottom line is health. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit completely on the screen, or maybe it does. On the left side, you see healthy. Number 1, healthy. You are healthy. Then you see number 2, the illness starts. It moves away from healthy, but the problem is not yet perceived by you. The illness rises. Number 3, the problem is imminent. The symptoms show. Then the pain rises, more symptoms show. The pain rises, even more symptoms show. And let's see, at the top of the hill, you get into the right protocol. Typically, the pain level reduces. On the right side, you have still symptoms, less symptoms, still some symptoms. Then you come to point number 4. And that's the most critical point. You don't feel immediate pain anymore. The problem seems to be gone and over. At this point, most people stop to continue the protocol because they say it's done, it's gone. But the illness is not completely handled yet. Just the pain level is so low, or you don't feel the pain, that you think it's gone. It's not gone. Number 4, it's not gone. Number 5, the illness is still present. Maybe you don't notice it, and people stop the protocol. And that's the most critical part. If you don't continue the protocol, so you come back again to number 6, to health, that issue will come back again to you, right now or later. That's a big critical part, which I call the curve of healing. I hope it made some sense to you. It gives you additional food for thoughts, what I mean by that. All right? So you got to give it the time. Now, let's say you gave it the time. You have the right protocol. You financed it. You applied it. You gave it the time. You are back to health. So what now? Is it over? No, it's not over. Now comes step 5. And step 5 is prevention. You got to prevent that it happens again. Because something brought you to this point where you suffered and where you became sick. At least one thing, if not more, went wrong in your life. It put you in this situation, and it contributed to cause this situation. Whatever it was, you got to find out and stop it. Change is difficult. Say goodbye to old habits, old dependencies, very difficult. Poor attitudes brought you into this situation. You got to change, whether it's unhealthy food, whether it's cigarettes, alcohol, sweets, coffee, electromagnetic radiation, whatever it is. I don't know. It can be anything, or the combination. You got to find out, and you got to stop this influence, because if not, it will be coming back. Even mental situations, bad marriage, suffering in a job, can have caused the situation. If you don't handle it, it will keep haunting you. Promised, it will keep haunting you. Sooner or later, it will come back. As you recover, please analyze what went wrong. Don't be just happy about your recovering. You should be happy once you are recovered and you found the reason. What is the true cause which ended up in the situation? You mistreated your mind, your body, or you allowed others that they mistreat you. You got to change your lifestyle accordingly, that it will not happen again. You got away with it this time. I'm happy for you. But what about next time? Will you have another chance? Do not push your luck. For example, I see many people, they survived cancer and they're happy. I had a friend, they cut it out. He said, they cut it out. I said, did they found the cause? No, nobody asked for it. And sure enough, a year later, it came back. Next time, it could be too late. Find out what it was. Do it for yourself, but do it as well for your wife, your spouse, your family. They deserve that you live a happy, healthy life because they want a happy, healthy family, right? That's step number 5. Now comes the last step, number 6. Number 6 is maintenance, right? Maintenance. We all do too little to maintain our healthy condition. Now, I keep saying over time that you can take the most healthy person you know in this world. You remember that story with this gold medal swimmer girl. You can take the most healthy person in this world. Let's say there exists one, right? And we take this person here in our community, where I am now, and let the person live their regular life with food, with water, with the pollution which is there, whatever it is. The person will never stay healthy without doing the right actions. To my opinion, the person will not stay healthy. Health is a permanent fight. A permanent fight. So I came up with this thing here where I asked people, what have the following topics in common? These topics have all one thing in common. I'm not sure you know what it is. Look at them and think about for a second, what do they have in common? And here's the answer. None of these topics has a final station where you will ever arrive. Never, ever arrive at a final station. Let me give you these topics again. Health is a permanent work. Love is a permanent work. And dedication and renewing love and keep postulating love. Spirituality, I don't think we ever reach the ultimate nirvana of spirituality. And I believe when we die, we may get the biggest kick and inspiration about spirituality. Wisdom, we'll never ever have all the wisdom which is available, which could be available. Knowledge, of course not. So none of these topics has a final station where you will ever arrive. To live a good life, you have to work permanently on these topics until you die, and most likely still thereafter. But that's a personal opinion of mine. In order to maintain your healthy condition, you have to take the right action. As you clean daily your teeth, you have to work daily on your general health. It doesn't work if you clean your teeth once a week, once a month, once a year. We know that. You have to keep working on it. And there are different methods to work on it. Whether you have kinesiology treatment, whether you have treatments by any practitioner, it doesn't matter. And of course, what is very important, and I'm guilty there absolutely, is movement, sports. We have to move our butt. This body is designed to be active, to work, to sweat. Now you take the number one in the world in tennis. He maintains his leadership as the number one only by exercising his straight every day, for example, 5 hours a day. 5 hours playing. He's number one. You could say, well, he doesn't need to practice anymore. He's number one. No, he needs to keep practicing. I heard the story from Chick Corea, one of the most fantastic musicians, jazz piano player ever lived, walked on this planet. And somebody told me that he was practicing 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I'm not surprised. Health means permanent work against chronic stress, pollution, bad water, the air, electromagnetic radiation. The maintenance you do must include preventive protocols. For example, preventing from the influence of electromagnetic radiation and supportive activities. It's easier and cheaper than wait until illness has affected you again. Working daily to stay healthy is easier and often cheaper than attacking it only once when the pain has set in. Health is work, permanent work. And I wish we all look like this elderly couple where health seems to be just a part of their life. Okay, Here's a summary of these 6 steps, an overview. The 6 steps are: first, confront; 2, the right protocol; 3, the funds needed; 4, time; 5, prevention; and 6, maintenance. These are the 6 steps to health, and this has all to do with management. And if you meet somebody who is in a health crisis, I'll bet you he sits on one of those steps. Has he done that step 1? Is he stuck on step 3, the money? Does he give the time? Has he found the right protocol? You can walk these topics through and you will find where a person is stuck and doesn't move on or make mistakes. It's just a checklist. I take a person who comes to me as a life consultant, I'll run him through these 6 steps and I'll find out quickly within minutes where is he stuck. Now, if you have symptoms of illness yourself at the moment as we speak, what are you doing? You need to change your mindset. You need to rethink what you're doing. You may have to change your lifestyle, very different. People are not willing to do that. You got to get out of your comfort zone. Improvement and life extension happens beyond the borders of your comfort zone. To keep doing the same thing, what you were doing, doesn't bring you anywhere because you're doing the same thing. How can you do the same thing and expect different results? How do you think you're sitting on your couch potato, your mental couch potato as well? No new influences, no new thoughts, no throwing things away which stuck with you wrongly, no new impulses. Well, it's very simple. I want to die healthy. You understand now what I mean by saying I want to die healthy, with dignity. I want to go to sleep and not wake up without having the body deteriorated, without suffering for months, for weeks, for years on deficiencies in an assistant home, in an elderly home, pushed away in a wheelchair. I want to die healthy. Now, does that thought surprise you anymore? Is it so out of the way? Is it so strange now, after all I explained and showed to you? I want to die healthy, with dignity, with happiness. Happiness in my heart, in my mind, about my life, what I've accomplished, what I stood for, responsibilities I took, helping other people, helping this planet. I want to die with pride and dignity. Is that a bad target? No, it's not. But it means that now I have to do everything which is right. I have to do everything which is right now. I'm drinking the best water there is. I'm totally protected from electromagnetic radiation with no questions. All the food I'm eating, inside, outside the house, all negative frequencies are nullified. I have a health protection which so far is unmatched in this world, according to the Bieser Institute in Austria and their testings, which are on my website, several hundred pages of testings, of certifications. And the same counts for my family. Originally, I have started all that for my family, myself and my family, not as a business. And a lot of customers, my customers nowadays, share with me these results and these findings. So I'm very proud of where I am, and I keep working on maintaining the health to the utmost highest standard. Do things come my way every now and then? Of course they come my way. Because I live in a world which is trying to kill me, to bombard me. These suckers out there are after your life, after your health. For what we went through the last few years, Jesus, come on. So I'm fighting, I'm working. but I'm not struggling. You have to be prepared to work on it. It's not once done. Even though I have all my products, I still have to be careful because they're coming out with new crap all the time. And I have to change accordingly. So I'm happy, I'm proud, and I want to die happy and proud. Okay? So we're really getting to the end here now. I said to you, if you remember a few minutes ago, I want to die healthy. I get it that you guys understand what I mean by that. And it's a legitimate request. But you got to put the request to yourself. I'm requesting from me that I want to die healthy. And if I want to die healthy, I have to do everything that I'm healthy now and I stay healthy. So I'm not dying because my body is deteriorated. I'm dying because in my spiritual, mental world, I'm ready to go. But I'm not forced to go by a body which is screwed up. So I want to die healthy. Do you also? Answer yourself the question. Do you have symptoms of illness? What are you doing? You need to change your mindset. You need to rethink. Change your entire lifestyle. Get out of your comfort zone. You decide now, right now at this very moment. Sit, relax for 5 seconds. And decide now, right now, at this very moment, I want to die healthy, or I don't care. How miserable I will die. How bad. How much pressure I put on my family of having a screwed up body which needs enormous attention and money. Make a decision now. Speak loud in your mind to yourself. The microphone is muted. Say now, I want to die healthy. Or say, I don't give a damn. I don't care. Your choice. It is your choice, not mine. And you make a conscious decision. Decide. You want to die in pain? You want to die in pain or healthy in dignity? Right. So, that's the end of the show. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email. And I'll try to answer the email as best as I can. And as fast as I can, though I should, as my wife says, clone myself, that somebody else can take over parts of my work, as I don't have enough hours a day to do what I need to do. It's my calling. And I'm happy I have a calling. And I'm trying to match with my work, my calling. Thank you very much. See you in about 4 weeks again. All the best to you out there. Bye-bye.